American spies dialing into the German Chancellor's cell phone. 4 years ago, it was a phone tap that turned out to be tit for tat. Friends spying on friends. Was Mrs. Merkel a target, or did she know who was really on the line? I'm Brent Goff in Berlin. This is The Day.
We're allies, but such an alliance can only be built on trust. So I'll say it again, friends don't spy on friends. It's unacceptable.
There haven't been millions of rights infringements in Germany, as has been repeatedly falsely claimed. Today is a chance for Ms. Merkel to take a position. After saying spying on friends is unacceptable, and telling us we'll have a no-spy agreement, all of those things were untrue.
A democracy has no place for a secret service that lies to Parliament, to the executive and to government.
Also tonight, America first at the G20. A new U.S. foreign policy comes face-to-face with the rest of the world. That's coming up in about 12 minutes. We begin the day with a question that has haunted the headlines all week. What did they know? In the U.S., leaders of Congress are demanding answers about the president and his ties to the Russian government. Well, tonight, the German Chancellor is being asked to tell all she knows about intelligence gathering and spies who go too far. Now, 4 years ago, whistleblower Edward Snowden revealed the NSA was spying on world leaders such as Mrs. Merkel. But in that cascade of classified information, the world discovered that Germany's spies were doing the same thing to other leaders. And now lawmakers want to hear Mrs. Merkel herself explain what she knew about friends spying on friends.
She was seen as the most powerful woman in Europe. Some even said the whole world. But testimony from the NSA investigation indicates Chancellor Angela Merkel's influence ended at her intelligence services. In 2013, after the news broke that U.S. intelligence services had tapped Merkel's phone for years, the German Chancellor declared, "Spying on friends is not okay." But in 2015 came a new revelation. Germany's own intelligence service, the BND, had spied on European politicians, government agencies, and businesses, something Merkel says she didn't know. Chancellor Merkel presented a convincing case that she made the statements without knowing that the BND regularly spied on our allies. It's up to you if you think that makes the matter better. The former BND boss lost his job as part of the fallout, and the service saw its activities reined in by Berlin. Chancellor Merkel didn't seem worried during the testimony and claimed she didn't do anything wrong. This confirms my assessment that Chancellor Merkel has constructed a protective wall around herself. She has people who protect her from information and politically dangerous acts regarding German intelligence services. But opposition politicians take their critique a step further. They claim the government intentionally spread false information to protect itself during Germany's parliamentary election in 2013.
We're here at the big table. I'm joined now by Stefan Heumann. He was a leader in efforts following that spying scandal to repair and improve transatlantic relations, especially with data privacy, security, and surveillance. He now heads a think tank that's aimed at doing that. Stefan, it's good to have you on The Day. Did the Chancellor today, did she say anything that changes the state of digital spying between Europe and the U.S.?
Thank you, Brent, for having me. I think today was not about transatlantic relations. Today was about domestic politics, because since we learned about the NSA spying on Germany, we have also asked ourselves, or Germans have been asking a lot of questions about the involvement of the German intelligence agency, abbreviated BND. And we've learned that they cooperated closely, that they also run very broad surveillance programs. And today the question was really, what did Chancellor Merkel know about them? And we've learned in the course, as you mentioned, that Germany also spies on European countries, on partner countries. That has been very embarrassing to the German government.
Did you learn anything from the Chancellor today?
Basically, what the Chancellor said today is that she didn't know anything. And that was not really surprising because...
She said that all along, right?
She said that all along. And
do you believe her?
And her deputies at the Chancellery, who are in charge of supervising the intelligence agencies, also have been saying to that same committee that they haven't known all along. So how could she know if her subordinates in the Chancellery wouldn't know?
Yeah, right. And do you believe that she did not know that German Secret Service intelligence officials were spying on other leaders?
I actually do believe her because this is a comfortable position for her to be in, and I think it's on purpose.
You mean, okay, so you mean, as they say, ignorance is bliss. Don't tell me what I don't want to know.
Exactly.
Okay.
What really the parliamentary inquiry that has been going on now for 3 years has been showing is that everyone in the Chancellery who's in charge of supervising that agency has been claiming that they haven't known anything. And they apparently also didn't bother to ask questions and to hold that intelligence agency accountable.
Isn't that a scandal in itself, then, that they don't know what their spies are doing?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a problem, and that has become a political problem because the agency apparently has been doing things that are against Germany's political interests, like spying on its close friends and allies. And so more accountability is definitely needed, and that has been one of the central outcomes of that parliamentary inquiry, that we need to improve the system of oversight, and that it can't be that the Chancellery claims that they don't know anything.
I mean, well, have things improved?
Well, we have a new intelligence law that has been a direct consequence of this inquiry that has been just passed at the end of the past year. And this new law now requires that the supervisors in the Chancellery have to sign off on surveillance programs. So they have to give their signature to a foreign intelligence operation that the BND runs. And so if there is another problem in the future, we can go back and look at the record and say, OK, this official signed off on it. He should be held accountable for that. We haven't had those kind of mechanisms in place. That's what we have learned. And there has been a problem for holding anyone accountable.
So you basically have a scandal that you say has involved German Secret Service agents doing things that run against German interests, maybe German values. But at the end of the day, no one will be held accountable. And so you're just going to move forward. Is that satisfactory? I mean, it's like the bad guys get away in a way.
Well, there's been a saying that after every scandal, the German intelligence agencies have actually re-emerged strengthened. Because if you look at that new law that was passed, it also authorizes a lot of practices that have been strongly criticized and that people have thought could be illegal. Now they get legalized through this new law. Actually, new whole set of surveillance powers get added and written into German law. So the German intelligence agencies actually gets new, very powerful tools. And there's also going to be some improvement in terms of the oversight mechanisms.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. I'm just wondering, can you today, as a citizen, do you say you have a better idea of what your country's Secret Service agents are doing than you did 4 years ago?
We definitely do.
But they're doing more things that should be illegal.
I think we are having a debate about that in Germany, what should be done and what should not be done. And that's a good thing. I think that a lot of the things that are written into that new law, they are very broad surveillance capabilities that I think are questionable. But we do have
Give me one example. Give me one example. What really bothers you?
What really bothers me are not the targeted national security surveillance that I think that every country needs to do and is in our interest that we are doing, but there are these broad surveillance programs where we take entire communication streams and scoop up all of them.
Of people here in the country.
Yeah, and it's well-known fact that in Germany, for example, there's a mass surveillance programs going on at the internet exchange points where all of our communications run through, and that the intelligence agencies are able to run surveillance programs onto those exchange points. And they take in a whole mass of communications.
What about in the fight against terrorism and preventing terror attacks here, though? There's that argument to justify all of this data collection.
But I don't think that these programs have proven very effective.
But we haven't had a 9/11 type event in this country.
We have had very serious terrorist events, like just the recent one in Berlin.
Yeah.
And the problem there has not been that we haven't had enough tools of mass surveillance. We know who the suspected problems are. We don't have enough resources to follow up with them and to.
Heard that a lot.
Yeah, we have heard that a lot, and I think it's important to keep the debate focused on the real threats and what's the most efficient way of doing it. And there's a lot of questions also being asked in the US about the NSA programs, whether the mass programs that soup in all kinds of data are really that helpful, or whether they distract the agency from focusing on the real threats and the real targets. And I think such a debate is healthy because it's not just only one about civil liberties, it's also one about efficiency and what the agency should focus on.
What about the man who basically started this entire debate, Edward Snowden? 4 years ago, there was a call for him to be given asylum here in Germany. What do you think should happen to him today? He's still in Russia.
I think Edward Snowden is somewhat a tragic figure in this personally. I think we in Germany and also the citizens in the United States and all around owe him for having started this very important debate.
Should Germany give him a home?
But I think I would have supported the calls for the U.S. government to bring him back. There was U.S. citizens that have asked President Obama to pardon him. That didn't happen. But I think it's really the U.S. government that needs to address the Snowden issue. I don't think that the German government will risk a conflict with the U.S. government by bringing him here to Germany. And so I don't think there's a realistic chance for Edward Snowden to come back to Germany. Okay. His best chance is that the U.S. government finds a way to bring him back.
Stefan Heumann, lots of insights there. Thank you very much for coming on the day. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Brent.